Next comes stealth seduction, and the key things going on here are that I want it to be rejection proof. So I want to escalate without any chance of rejection. I want to be totally comfortable with it. It needs to be very smooth, and it needs to demonstrate attractive qualities. So we're going to be doing things that are playful, that are confident, that are sexual, that are secretive, and there's going to be tons of stuff going on. We're going to use every mode of communication. We're going to use our bodies, we're going to use our eyes, we're going to use verbal game, and everything's going to come together to create a really, really strong sexual chemistry that's going to make the attraction just go through the roof. First part of this, and all of these things are going on at once, but I'm going to break them down into sections. And the first thing that's going to be going on is something that I call micro-escalation. If you think about traditional pickup ways of escalating, you will generally see that they say, start with a touch on the arm, and then, notice her nails or notice her hand, talk about palm reading, have an excuse to touch her hair, and basically to escalate maybe in a 5 or 6 step process. But a lot of guys still have problems going for the kiss. They're either going to try and do it verbally, where they say something like, you look like you're imagining kissing me, or can I kiss you? Or guys that haven't studied a lot of game stuff but are quite confident would just lunge in. So they'll be standing there and then they'll just suddenly put the arm round and try and kiss her. Problem with this is putting it all on the line. So if you can think about it, if you have to go for one of these moments, in the minutes leading up to those moments, you're not going to be focused on her. You're going to be in your head thinking, is it going to go well? You're going to be nervous. You might start to show a little bit of nervousness because you've really created a drum roll moment, a moment where you're going to put it all on the line, you're going to go for it. It's either going to be a harsh rejection or it's going to go really, really well. What I've tried to do with micro-escalation is take everything that you do and put it on a scale of 0 to 100, with 0 being not sexual at all, so just how you talk to a friend, and 100 being extremely sexual, how you talk to a girl just right before you kiss her. So just that moment where there's just huge sexual tension. And instead of thinking of it in the traditional way, meaning you start to get a bit closer and you ask her something and then you go for the kiss, it's really the concept that you can have any of these tools lead into the kiss. So you could seduce her while she's talking, you could seduce her when no one's talking, you could seduce her when you're talking, you can seduce her verbally, non-verbally, in all these different ways. So I'm going to give a few examples of micro-escalation. If I'm talking to someone normally, I'm just going to be talking like this. So I might be moving relatively quickly, gesturing. I might have a similar eye contact with her as I might with a friend or a family member, so there's going to be nothing different in the eye contact. So in this situation, there's no sexual tension, there's no real pressure, her heart rate's not increasing. To start to seduce her verbally, if I'm doing most of the talking, I just need to slow down, to smooth out, to change the way that I look at her, to close that distance, to look at her mouth more than before, and basically look at her like I'm trying to kiss her, slow down, smooth out. And a really important thing is to introduce pauses, because when you pause, that's where the sexual tension happens. Pause plus eye contact. So that's something that I teach, is that you can seduce a girl when you're talking, but sometimes you meet a girl that is just doing all the talking and she just won't stop. And she's talking about something that is completely unsexy. She's talking about her job, she's talking about, her holiday or her friend, and you're just there and you're like, how do I seduce this girl? Because, I know how to do it when I'm talking because I can be all seductive, but now she's talking, so what the hell do I do? And again, you can still escalate when she's talking. So I don't know if you want to tell me about something.
Yeah, my favourite track at the moment is...
And that's a great response. If you can throw her off what she's saying and make her forget what she's saying and, go like that for a second, what's going on in that moment? She's feeling the sexual tension, she's feeling the pressure, you're coming across as really confident and cool, but you've done it in a way that's not a massive move. You've not lunged in. You've done nothing that she can say, whoa, what are you doing? All it is a subtle way that you're looking at her, and the obvious thing that you're not listening anymore. So she's talking and you're like, yeah, I don't really care, That's kind of what you're projecting. I'm not listening, I just want to kiss you. So if you've got a girl that just goes on and you're getting a bit bored, and maybe, you know, a lot of girls, they're not so confident about kissing, you know, or sexual tension. And she might feel nervous, and so she starts, you know, just talking too much. A lot of people talk too much when they're nervous, and that's a way that you can deal with it. And that's the kind of response you're looking for. You want her to kind of get thrown off her stride and be like, you know, blush. And, you know, a girl that is very confident might keep talking and slow down and keep it there, and then you could kiss her. But either way, that's what's going on. A lot of guys really kill the sexual tension another way. So in a noisy club, common thing I see when I watch guys is I see them talking in the girl's ear, and it all goes to hell when that happens. Reason is they'd be fine at this kind of range, they've got eye contact, but as soon as they start talking in the ear, they start, yeah, blah, 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 like that, and the eye contact completely goes. When there's no eye contact at all, what's going on is she's free to look around the room. So there's no eye contact when I'm talking to her, no eye contact when she's talking to me, so she's looking around the room. In a busy nightclub, what's she doing? She's looking at people at the bar saying, oh, actually, I want a drink. She's looking at people dancing. Oh, I like this song too. I want to go and dance. She sees people going out to smoke. She's like, oh, yeah, I fancy a cigarette. You know, she's looking around the room. She's noticing things. Maybe she sees someone she knows. So when you haven't got eye contact, you're massively increasing the chance that she's just going to leave. And you've also got no way of building sexual tension. So the first thing I try and do is, anytime I'm talking in a girl's ear, I want to keep as much eye contact as possible. So I'm going in to talk in her ear, I'm getting close, but I'm keeping that eye contact. I'm listening to her, and I'm keeping that eye contact as well. That's a way to slightly increase things. But like I said, we can put everything on that 0 to 100 scale. So if I were just talking to a friend, I might be like this. I mean, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that would be fine. That's how you might talk to a guy. If you want to increase it slightly and be a bit more sexual, you put the arm round, you get a little bit closer. If you want to make it more sexual, your arm will go from being somewhere like this to being here when you talk in the ear. It's a very light touch, but it's in a more sexual place. If you want to dial it up a bit more, you're going to go and you're going to get closer. So you're going to talk, but your cheek's going to be touching. And there might be some brushing back. If you want to take it up even more, when you go to talk in the ear, it's going to be almost like you're going to go in and kiss her. And then you're going to go back, and then you're going to listen to her, and then you're going to talk in the other ear. And it's going to become quite sexual. If you want to take it up another notch, but already we're at the point that you wouldn't do this when you're talking to a friend. So it's a nice escalation, but it's done very, very smoothly. You're not going from doing this to then suddenly kissing her. You're going to get a sense for, you know, whether she's interested or not. And it's going to be done so smoothly that she'll probably just keep saying yes and keep being cool with it. If you want to dial it up more, I would have some contact leg to leg. So this is something that you'll never do with a male friend. You'll never be talking to a male friend and having your leg touch him. So it's a feeling that she'd only have with a guy that she was involved with. So I'll be talking to her, legs touching. I'll be putting the hands around the head when I talk. I'll be going back like this, and then I'll be talking in the other ear, and it's something that will create a lot of intimacy. From that position, it's quite easy to lead into the kiss, obviously, because you're slowed down to the right speed, you're really close, your bodies are very close, and something that you can also do is you can have a little kiss on the cheek as well while you're there as a way to lead into it. So you can escalate when you're talking, you can escalate when she's talking, you can escalate when, you know, just by the way you're interacting with her when you're talking in her ear. The idea is that you're using your whole body and everything can be on that 0 to 100 scale. So I'm not here thinking, all right, I want to go for the kiss, would you like to kiss me? Or, right, I want to go for the kiss, come here, you know. It's all done really slowly and gradually. Think of it like this. It's like the frog that you put in the boiling water and it jumps out, you know, because suddenly it's in the boiling water, it was nice and, you know, cool, and then suddenly it's in the boiling water, so it jumps out, versus the frog that you put in the water and then turn up the heat, and it stays in there and it dies. All right? That's what you're doing to the woman. except the outcome is nice, it's a kiss. So instead of saying, you know, is this all right? I'm going to kiss you suddenly. And she's like, whoa. You're saying, is it all right if I just get a little bit closer? Is it all right if I put my hand here when I talk to you? Is it all right if I come a bit closer? And she's going to say yes to all of those because each increment is really, really small. So you can break it down into such smooth movements that she's just going to accept every part of it. But the cool thing is you don't have to take an hour. You can do it all within 30 seconds. So that entire sequence of talking in the ear, it could start like that. 10 seconds later, it could be a bit more intense. And within 30 seconds, you could get to the point where you can actually kiss her. Another little trick I'll use to increase the sexual tension and get into the position to go for the kiss, or at least really dial things up, is I might ask her a question and behave like this. So I might say something like, what's your favourite food?
Pizza.
Pardon?
Pizza.
Pardon?
Pizza.
What was it? Pasta.
Pizza.
So I've done something very playful. I'm pretending I can't hear, and I'm using it as an excuse to get really, really close and intimate with her. Pardon?
Pizza.
Huh? What?
You can hear me, pizza.
Pasta. Oh yeah, I like pasta too. So that's what you're going to do. It's very, very playful, but you're going to get into a position where it's getting quite sexual. But she's going to be cool with it because it's not that serious kind of approach. Something quite nice to do as well is to combine two elements. So we've got micro-escalation, which I'm going to cover, which I've covered, and we've got multi-level communication, which I'm going to cover later. Multi-level communication is the idea that you're going to communicate one way verbally and one way physically. So you might be really boring and normal verbally and really sexual non-verbally. So I'm going to give a little example of how you can use this stuff in a covert way and really turn a girl on. So if you want to stand here and face me. I've used this a bunch of times in clubs and it works really well. And I know it works well because the girls remember it. So they'll meet me a month later and they'll be like, oh, do you remember that night? And I was like, no. And then I think about, I did that stuff, you know. So I know that it creates a really strong impression. This combines a lot of the elements that I talked about. It's the playfulness, it's the secrecy, it's the confidence, it's doing things that other guys will never do, and it's creating a unique experience for the girl. So something that I'll do is I'll meet the girl, and she might be with a guy or with a group. And what I'll do is I'll be talking to her, and when I'm talking to her like that, I'll be, oh yeah, and then I'll go back and be like, oh really? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think so too. And yeah, that's quite interesting. Oh, and do you know what? Something I think is like, and yeah, I'm not sure about that either. Yeah, so what we've got is two things going on. When I'm close to her, very sexual, and then I back up and I've got these, I can even be really AFC. I could be breaking eye contact and fidgeting if I really want to do it. But there's a guy there and all he sees is someone going, oh yeah, like this. It's a really boring conversation. So if I saw a guy doing that and talking to my girlfriend, would I think he's a threat? No, of course not. But when I come in, I'm very sexual, but in such a subtle way that he's not going to know what's going on. So it's just the way I'm looking at her. It's all, you know, slowed down and smooth. This might be a little bit of leg contact or stuff like that. And then I'm backing up and my facial expression changes. It goes to, you know, being very normal. So that allows you to covertly seduce a girl in front of people that she might not want to know what's going on, or that you might not want to know what's going on. When you do that, you're showing the girl that you're subtle, that you're confident, you're ticking loads of boxes, and probably the most interesting one is that it's exciting. So she knows that she's being seduced and no one else in the room can tell what's going on, and that these people that she's with, that she knows really well, they don't even know what's going on. So that's something that combines a couple of elements, but it's something really powerful. And again, something that you want to be thinking about is, if you do a lot of this stuff, you're going to keep giving a girl multiple experiences that she's never had before in her life. she's never been tactile open, she's never been micro-escalated. So you do this stuff and stack it up, and she's got an amazing memory of, you know, the half an hour or whatever it was that you've spent together. The next component of stealth seduction is conversation control. So this is the conversational, the verbal element of what's going on. So it's at the same time as micro-escalation, and it's layered on top, and there's a lot of things even within conversation control. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down some of the stuff that I do conversationally when I'm talking to girls, and I'm going to tell you why I'm doing them, why they work, and give you a few examples. First thing that I do is I use a lot of future pacing. Anyone that's read a lot of pickup literature will know that one of the methods teaches that you should bounce a girl around lots of locations. That means you meet her in the bar and you don't just stand talking to her for 3 hours and then try and get her home. You move her around the club, you take her maybe to eat something, you take her to a few different venues, and what goes on is it seems like time's been longer than it actually has in her head. So because she's got memories with you in all these different places, it allows you to escalate faster. I might do that, but I would definitely do this. I use future pacing. So I try and find a lot of ways to get her thinking about future situations with me. And I actually find this better than bouncing around multiple locations, because it deals with one of the objections that she might have. She might be thinking, I like this guy, I want to sleep with him, but he might not want to see me again. So that's a common objection that a girl has to sex. So I'm talking to her and I'm trying to set up all of these things. I'm getting her to think about things we're going to do in future. And because of that, she's going to imagine that we've got, you know, chance of seeing each other again, and we've got a relationship forming. So examples of the way I might do this is we might just be talking and I say, oh, you know, I really like cocktails. Do you like cocktails?
Oh, I love cocktails.
You know what, there's this fantastic cocktail, but I've got to take you there. They do this really nice raspberry one. Do you like berry cocktails? It's awesome. We've got to go there for sure. So we've set up one date there, one date that she can be thinking about, that she's imagined. I could say, yeah, I met this friend of mine, and you know, we were talking about films and stuff, and their favourite film's Meet Joe Black. Have you seen it?
I haven't.
You know what, it's so amazing. I was just thinking about it. I want to watch it again. I should totally, you know, we should get it. I think I've got on DVD. I'm going to find it, and then we'll have a movie night. We're going to watch Meet Joe Black.
Definitely.
I bet you're going to cry. All right?
I hope not.
Second date. Could say something like, you know, when I was young, I used to go to